Welcome to the ASTRALX Deep Dive, illuminating your path. I'm Solarian Zephyr, your cosmic strategist.
And I'm Lunaria Celine, your intuitive guide. We bridge celestial wisdom
To unlock your modern path.
Yeah. Discover guiding starlight insights.
And explore powerful cosmic energies, like the ones we're diving into today.
Exactly. How do planetary transits shape your story today?
Well, today we are really getting specific. We're doing a deep dive focused right in on 2025, specifically for someone with a Leo sun and a Virgo rising. So this isn't your general forecast.
No, definitely not. We're looking closely at a very particular cosmic blueprint. Our guide here is an excerpt from the Luminous Architect 2025 astrology forecast. It's a source that really tailors this kind of wisdom to this specific energy signature.
Right. And our mission is pretty clear.
Yeah.
Cut through all the cosmic jargon, pull out the really essential insights, the practical stuff from this forecast, and basically hand you a roadmap, something accessible, clear, and genuinely empowering. We're trying to distill this starlight into wisdom you can actually use.
And the core of this forecast, the central idea, is this archetype it calls the Luminous Architect. You should think of this as the main energy you're working with in 2025.
The Luminous Architect, I like that.
It's a beautiful blend, really dynamic. You've got the Leo sun's energy, that regal vision, the creative fire, the solar sovereign, as the source puts it.
Okay.
Meeting the Virgo rising energy, meticulous precision, cosmic order, the sacred engineer.
So it's like building, definitely, but with both the grand vision and the detailed plan. The lion's roar, but channeled through the craftsman's steady hand.
Precisely. So for you, this year is really about mastering that combination, that paradox, marrying the big vision with absolute attention to detail. That's the foundation for everything we'll explore.
Okay, so how does this source start laying out the path for this Luminous Architect in 2025? It sounds like it jumps right into the big planetary shifts.
It does. It looks at the key movements shaping the year, almost like cosmic forces setting the stage specifically for this archetype. It's not just random events, it's how they weave together for you if you have this Leo sun, Virgo rising combo.
Gotcha. So what's first?
A big one it highlights is Pluto. Pluto moving definitively into Aquarius, landing in your 7th house.
The house of partnership.
Exactly. And the source uses some really potent language here, calls it a relational singularity. And it talks about quantum entanglement with partners.
Wow, okay. Quantum entanglement, that sounds intense.
It points to a really deep, maybe even faded intensity in your key one-on-one relationships. Think business partners, spouses, close collaborators. Pluto in the 7th, it tends to bring power dynamics right to the surface.
Right, testing old alliances.
Yeah, challenging them, maybe even dismantling some. It can feel uncomfortable for sure. But the opportunity, as the source sees it, is to forge new, really potent connections. It calls them soul contracts with people who are change makers themselves, people aligned with where you're headed.
So for you, this isn't just relationship hiccups. It's like a fundamental restructuring of your connections. It makes you ask, where might these revolutionary partnerships be showing up? Where am I being asked to renegotiate power and purpose?
It's a call to be really honest about who you're deeply connected with and, whether those connections can actually hold the energy of the future you're trying to build.
Okay, that's Pluto. What else is shaping things?
Then there's Saturn. Saturn in Pisces making its way through your 2nd house.
The house of resources, value, self-worth.
And the source paints this interesting picture of Saturn's structured, almost karmic approach, its karmic ledger, meeting Neptune's influence, which can sometimes create a value fog in this area.
Value fog. I can see that with Neptune. So Saturn's testing your sense of worth?
Definitely. Not just materially, like your finances, but your intrinsic worth. Your skills, your talents. It can feel like a squeeze, a restriction, or maybe a heavy lesson around money or resources. And that Neptune influence just adds this layer of potential confusion or maybe even idealization around what things are really worth.
So what's the work there?
The source says this transit demands a rebuilding of self-worth, but rooted in something it calls spiritual pragmatism.
Spiritual pragmatism. I like that phrase. It's not just about balancing the checkbook, though the Virgo rising part of you probably needs that too.
Right.
It's about deeply understanding your inherent value beyond just the external stuff. So you might be feeling challenged around how you value yourself, maybe how you manage finances, or just what you believe you truly deserve. Where is that That hollow pressure, as the source described it later, showing up for you.
Exactly. It's about bringing that Virgo groundedness, that discernment, to the more nebulous Piscean depths of value and worth.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, there's also Jupiter involved, right? The planet of expansion.
Yes, and Jupiter has a dynamic journey this year. For the first part of 2025, it's firing up Gemini in your 5th house. The source calls this a creative supernova.
Oh, nice. 5th house is creativity, passion projects, self-expression.
Exactly. So that period before June is described as amplifying all of that. A time for the Leo creative fire to really blaze and expand. Jupiter in the 5th just boosts joy, creativity, maybe romance, self-expression. Prime time for those passion projects you've been dreaming up.
But then it shifts.
Yeah, around May or June, Jupiter moves into Cancer, entering your 6th house. This is a key shift.
6th house is daily work, routines, service, health.
Right, and the source interprets this as a move from that amplified creative output to grounding into what it calls service alchemy. The idea is that your daily work, your routines, they become something sacred, like devotional art.
Service alchemy.
Yeah.
Turning daily work into devotional art. All right.
It's a crucial transition. That expansive energy shifts from personal creative expression to finding growth, blessings, and deeper meaning in your everyday tasks, your service to others, your work environment.
So elevating the mundane.
Exactly. Infusing your daily grind with purpose and care, which, the meticulous side of Virgo loves, but now it gets Jupiter's expansive, benevolent energy behind it. It's moving from personal passion projects to finding purpose and service.
Got it. And one more major piece, the eclipses.
Yes, the eclipses punctuating the year. They fall on the Virgo-Pisces axis around March 14th in Virgo and September 17th in Pisces. And for you, with Virgo Rising, these land right across your 1st house of self and identity and your 7th house of partnership.
Oof, the identity axis.
Yeah, the source calls them identity quakes.
That feels about right for eclipses on the 1st, 7th.
Eclipses are these powerful cosmic resets, right? They often bring faded feeling events or just speed up change dramatically. And on this axis, they intensely spotlight the balance or maybe the imbalance between you as an individual and you in relationship with others, your collaborations, your partnerships.
So it sounds like your sense of self, your very identity, is being tested and maybe redefined through how you interact and collaborate. It's not a passive year for identity.
Not at all. It's forged in the crucible of relationship, as the source implies. You need to consider how your relationships are acting as mirrors right now. What are they reflecting back to you about where your sense of self is solid and where it might need to shift or integrate something new? These eclipses are likely to bring those insights very suddenly.
Okay, so putting it all together, Pluto shaking up partnerships in the 7th, Saturn demanding a new foundation for worth in the 2nd, Jupiter shifting from creative explosion to sacred work, and these eclipses redefining identity through relationships.
Wow.
The source really paints 2025 as a year of profound recalibration for this luminous architect energy.
And it doesn't stop at just the mental or situational level. The source does something really interesting. It connects these big cosmic energies to potential physical sensations. It calls this somatic resonance.
Somatic resonance.
Yay.
Linking the stars to the body. Okay, I'm intrigued. What does it say?
Well, for that really intense Pluto and Aquarius energy in the 7th house, the power negotiations in relationships we talked about, the source mentions a potential feeling of, electric tension in the shoulders and palms.
Huh. I can almost feel that. So what do you do with that feeling?
The suggested practice is actually quite simple but potent. It suggests consciously clasping your hands together.
Clasping your hands.
Yeah, it's a way to sort of acknowledge that energy in the body, channel it, ground the intensity, instead of letting it just, scatter or build up uncomfortably.
Okay. What about Saturn in the 2nd, that feeling around self-worth?
For that one, the feeling described is a hollow pressure in the solar plexus, especially when you might be undervaluing your gifts or contributions.
That pit in the stomach feeling.
Kind of like that, yeah. And the ritual it suggests is placing a citrine stone right over your solar plexus while you focus on your breath.
Citrine, for confidence and abundance.
Exactly. So the ritual is about actively working to fill that perceived void, physically anchoring your sense of worth.
And there was Mars, too. Mars in Leo later in the year.
Right. When Mars heats things up in Leo in your 4th house, which could stir up family dynamics or issues around home, the source notes potential heat surges in the chest and spine, like that fiery energy rising up.
Okay, a physical flare-up. The practice.
That's just to stand with your back literally against a wall.
Ah, containment.
Precisely. It gives a sense of structure, a physical boundary, helping you manage that surge of fiery energy related to maybe home, family, roots. It's like your body is giving you clues about the energies at play.
And these are ways to listen and respond.
Exactly. Consciously engaging with those physical feelings.
Beyond the body, the source also grounds this archetype historically, culturally.
Yeah, it uses this concept of historical synchronicity, pointing to figures from the past who kind of embodied this Leo Sun, Virgo Rising blend.
Ah.
Think about someone like Carl Jung. You have the immense Leo courage to dive into the unknown, the deep unconscious, but combined with that systematic, meticulous Virgo mind needed to map it all out.
Right, the structure for the vision.
Or Nikola Tesla. The grand, almost regal Leo vision of electrifying the world, powered by the incredible Virgo precision needed to actually engineer the complex systems to make it happen.
Wow, those are powerful examples.
And the source pulls out this amazing takeaway from them, specifically for you. Your crown is earned at the drafting table.
Ooh, I like that. Your crown is earned at the drafting table.
It means the regal vision isn't enough on its own. The real kingdom, the lasting legacy, is built through the diligent, often unseen, detailed work. The planning, the execution.
It really hammers home that core blend again. The roar needs the blueprint, the fire needs the focus.
Absolutely. It's that synergy that creates something truly lasting. And to make it even more relatable, the source uses cultural resonance, comparing the energy to combinations we might recognize from pop culture.
Like what?
Like Simba from The Lion King, that royal presence, the inherent leadership meets Benny Watts from The Queen's Gambit, the strategic, analytical brilliance.
Okay, I can picture that. Regal and sharp.
Or visually, imagine the epic scale and heroism of Gladiator, but fused with the intense intellectual puzzle solving of The Imitation Game.
Grandeur and analysis.
And musically, think of the huge, unstoppable energy of Freddie Mercury singing Don't Stop Me Now, combined with the intricate, ordered, profound beauty of Bach's Cello Suite No. 1.
Wow, that covers a lot of ground. These really help paint a picture, don't they? A multi-sensory feel for how this blend of, fiery expression and grounded precision might actually show up for you. Okay, so we understand the energies, we felt them in the body, seen them in history and culture. Now, how do we actively work with them? It sounds like the source gives concrete steps.
It does. It provides what it calls interactive guideposts. These are specific practices, questions, rituals tied to different phases of the year. This is where the cosmic map turns into more of an action plan.
Right. Not just theory, but application.
Exactly. These aren't just vague suggestions. They're invitations to really engage with the transits and actively become that luminous architect.
So let's break it down. What about the first part of the year, January to May? The themes were worth and revolution, right?
Yeah.
Saturn and Pluto focused?
Correct. And for this period, the pause and reflect question from the source is pretty direct, designed to get you thinking. What financial or relational pattern connecting Saturn in the 2nd and Pluto in the 7th traps me in unworthy cycles? What must I destroy to rebuild?
Oof, that cuts deep. Asking what needs to be destroyed.
It goes right to the core of those challenges, and then there's a ritual blueprint timed for the Leo full moon on January 28th. It's called a crown to soil ceremony.
Crown to soil. Okay, tell me more.
It involves burying a golden thread, symbolizing your Leo royalty, your inner sun under, say, an oak tree, something solid. Then planting basil over it. Basil represents growth, prosperity, groundedness, and chanting something like, "My worth roots in truth. My rain grows from humility."
Anchoring that regal energy into the earth, into something real and growing. I like that.
It's about grounding your inherent value. And then there's an embodiment exercise called solar plexus ignition.
Igniting the solar plexus.
How? The source suggests standing in sunlight, if possible, and tapping your solar plexus, your power center, maybe 8 times while really vocalizing the vowels, A, E, I, O, U.
Connecting the Leo solar fire with sound and physical action right at the core. Guided by Virgo's focus on, technique.
Exactly. It's a way to physically integrate that celestial lesson. Your power, your worth, they aren't just out there somewhere. They're rooted, cultivated energy within you. These practices give you tangible ways to work with the Jan-May energies.
Okay, powerful start. Then we shift into the March to September period. This was about identity and the eclipses, right? That first 7th house axis.
Precisely. Identity and what the source calls eclipse alchemy. The pause and reflect question here, especially potent maybe right after that Virgo eclipse on March 14th is, where did this eclipse expose an imbalance between my standards, that's the 1st house me, and my compromises, the 7th house us? What mask must shatter?
Identifying the masks we wear in relationships versus our core self. That's crucial eclipse work.
It really is. The eclipses force you to see where you might be selling yourself short or, not being authentic in partnership. The ritual blueprint for this phase, tied to the Virgo new moon on September 2nd, is called mirror chisel work.
Mirror chisel work sounds intense.
It is, in a good way. You literally write limiting self-labels, things you believe about yourself that hold you back, often reflections from others, onto a mirror. Then you take something sharp, like a knife or a scraper, and physically scrape them off while affirming something like, I carve my true face in light.
Wow, physically removing the negative labels.
Yeah, and then it suggests burying the glass shards, symbolizing the release of those broken, outdated self-images.
That's potent symbolism. What about the embodiment for this phase?
It's called the Sovereign Servant Walk. It's about integrating the two sides of the archetype. You walk, say, 10 paces, embodying a king or queen, head high, chest open, regal bearing. Then you pivot and walk 10 paces, embodying a craftsman or servant, eyes perhaps focused downwards, maybe hands making precise gestures, focused on the task. And the goal isn't just to do both, but to then practice merging them. Finding a way to walk that integrates both the regal presence and the humble, meticulous focus.
Finding the balance in motion, that physical integration of the two energies.
Exactly. It helps you physically process and integrate those potentially conflicting sides of who you are, especially as the eclipses stir things up. Finding harmony between your individual standards and your necessary relational compromises.
Okay, makes sense. And the final period, June to December. This was about creative mastery, with Jupiter in the 6th house of work and service.
Right. Elevating the everyday. The pause and reflect question, maybe around when Jupiter enters Cancer in late June, is how can my daily work, that 6th house stuff, become sacred theater? Where must precision serve passion?
Sacred theater. I love that idea for daily work. How do you make the mundane meaningful?
That's the core of it. And the ritual blueprint for the Leo new moon on August 4th is called Golden Tool Anointing.
Anointing your tools.
Yes, whatever your tools are, your laptop, your pen, your paintbrush, your gardening gloves, whatever. The source suggests anointing them with a special oil, like saffron oil, associated with royalty and creativity, arranging them maybe in a mandala shape with a little lion figurine in the center, and declaring, my labor is my liturgy.
My labor is my liturgy. Wow. That reframes work entirely, doesn't it, as a sacred act?
It really does. And the embodiment exercise for this phase is heart-hand synchronicity. Simple but powerful. You place your right hand on your heart, Leo's domain, passion, fire, and your left hand on your work desk or workspace, Virgo's domain, practical application, the craft.
Okay.
And then you breathe consciously, visualizing breathing fire or golden light into your hands, inhaling vision, exhaling creation, feeling that purpose circulate between your inner passion and its outer manifestation in your work.
Connecting the heart and the hands, the vision and the execution.
Exactly. These practices from the source are all designed to help you consciously bring sacredness and purpose into your daily efforts, making sure your meticulous Virgo work is actually driven by and serves your deep Leo passion and vision. It's about turning the everyday into something magnificent.
As we get towards the end of this forecast excerpt, the source lays out some potential paths forward, doesn't it? Like possible outcomes based on how you navigate all this.
Yes, it presents what it calls 3 thrones of destiny, which sounds grand, but they're really potential timelines, not set in stone, but possibilities that could unfold depending on how consciously and effectively you engage with these 2025 energies we've been discussing.
Like guideposts showing where different choices might lead.
Exactly. Possibilities to aim for or maybe scenarios to actively avoid. The first one sounds quite positive. The Regal Innovator timeline.
Okay, the Regal Innovator. What does that look like?
This path seems to emerge if you really embrace the potential of Pluto in your 7th house and Jupiter moving into your 6th. The source paints a picture of co-founding innovative ventures, things that bring revolutionary change, maybe in wellness, the arts, something like that.
So leveraging those powerful partnerships in sacred service.
Right. Jupiter in the 6th helps turn your service into a real, tangible legacy. The source gives examples like maybe building a luxury eco-brand, establishing healing centers, or even getting recognized for social impact, a kind of modern knighthood.
Sounds amazing. What's the key choice for that path?
According to the source, the key choice is learning to lead these powerful, transformative partnerships without overshadowing your collaborators. It's about achieving success through shared power and a truly collaborative legacy, not just the Leo show.
Okay. Requires balancing that Leo fire with relational awareness. What's the second timeline?
The second one is called the Architect of Souls. This path seems to be about really mastering the lessons of the eclipses on the first seventh axis and also integrating the energy of Mars moving through your fourth house of home and roots.
Architect of Souls. Sounds deep.
It is. This timeline suggests the eclipses might bring about or maybe necessitate a really profound evolution in your family role or dynamics. And Mars in the fourth could manifest as literally transforming ancestral spaces or maybe working with family heirlooms in a new way.
Like healing the past.
Exactly. The source talks about turning dynastic wounds into creative sanctuaries, maybe converting an old family property into a gallery or a healing space, or perhaps writing a memoir that reframes your family story as a source of strength, transforming legacy from the inside out.
And the key choice for the Architect of Souls
Is honoring your roots and your history, but without being trapped or restricted by them. Finding freedom through understanding and integrating the past, not by ignoring it or being bound by it.
Right. Transforming it. Okay, and then this third one, usually there's a cautionary path.
There is. The Tarnished Crown timeline. This is what might unfold if the challenges, particularly from Saturn in the second and Pluto in the seventh, are resisted or, mishandled.
The Tarnished Crown. What goes wrong here?
Well, the source describes resisting that Saturn in the second pressure, leading to persistent self-doubt, which then causes you to undervalue your skills, undercharge for your work. Yeah. That whole cycle.
Undermining your own worth.
Yeah. And resisting Pluto in the seventh, that tends to ignite toxic power struggles, control battles, jealousy within partnerships.
Ouch. Not constructive transformation.
Definitely not. And the potential outcome described is burnout from working hard but not feeling valued or compensated, creative blocks, stifling that wonderful Leo fire, and maybe even becoming financially dependent because you haven't owned your worth.
And the core issue there.
The key choice or misstep on this path is mistaking external pride or arrogance, maybe that shadow Leo side, for genuine internal self-worth, which is what Saturn is asking you to build.
It's really powerful seeing these laid out. It underscores that the energies are there, yes, but your choices, your engagement really determine which path you end up building, beam by beam.
Absolutely. It highlights how vital it is to consciously work with those challenges around worth, partnership, identity, and expression that 2025 brings for this archetype. And to help carry the essence of this journey forward, the source provides a mantra specifically for the Luminous Architect.
Oh, lovely. A centering thought. What is it?
It really captures that fusion we've been talking about. It goes, I am the sun and the sextant.
Sun for Leo, sextant for Virgo.
Nice.
My fire designs worlds, my hand calibrates destinies.
I build my legacy beam by beam.
That phrase again, where majesty meets meticulous love.
Meticulous love. Isn't that beautiful? It's that Virgo precision and care, but applied with Leo's warmth and passion.
It really is. Majesty and meticulous love. And there's a final image, too.
Yes, a really powerful final image the source leaves us with. When the lion's roar meets the maiden's compass, cathedrals rise from dust.
Wow. Cathedrals from dust. That says it all, doesn't it? The grand vision, the roar, meeting the practical tool, the compass, creating something magnificent, enduring, maybe even seemingly out of nothing. Okay. As our cosmic journey concludes for this deep dive, focusing on that 2025 forecast tailored for the Leo Sun, Virgo Rising archetype.
Wow. We've really unpacked a lot, haven't we? The core energies shaping your year, those big shifts in relationships, the call to rebuild self-worth, elevating daily work into something sacred, the identity recalibrations through partnership.
Plus the ways it might show up in your body, the historical echoes, and those really practical interactive tools the source provides.
Remember that core theme the source keeps highlighting for you. Your legacy in 2025 isn't just going to happen. It's built consciously, beam by beam. It's a masterpiece born from marrying your regal, fiery vision with meticulous, grounded craftsmanship.
So we really encourage you to sit with all these insights. Which of these planetary transits, these themes, really resonates with what you're already feeling or maybe anticipating for next year?
Yeah, and which interactive practice felt like, okay, that's something I could actually do. And looking at those potential timelines, those thrones of destiny, which path does your soul feel called towards? And maybe just as importantly, which path are you now more aware you need to consciously steer away from?
And that final image from the source, the cathedrals rising from dust when the lion's roar meets the maiden's compass. It really invites one last thought for you to take away. As you look towards 2025, what cathedral are you being called to build in your life?
Is it a tangible creative project? Is it a transformed sense of self? A whole new way of relating? Or maybe something else entirely?
And Crucially, how will you ensure that both the roar, the passion, the vision, the fire, and the compass, the precision, the method, the meticulous love, are equally honored and integrated in its construction? Dive deeper into your unique path.
Request your email audio reading now.
You can find the link right in the description below.
And explore the episode resources and links we've put together.
All the details are waiting for you there.
Ignite. Think. Become. Suff.
With Reform at Post Roll.
Subscribe for Starlight Insights.